Yeah, that's right. I'm back. I'm doing another one. Thank you for listening, if you are. It means a lot to me. So this account, my Twitter for this podcast, it's called Solo Losers Only Pod, if you can believe that, because that's exactly what this podcast is named. But if you want to look me up on Twitter, there I am, Losers Only Pod, currently rocking 1 follower. It's pretty lit, guys, not going to lie. I mean, I guess you couldn't understand this level of fame because you yourself do not have a podcast, which I would strongly advise if you were looking for fame, because I am just rolling in, support and fans, knocking my door down, hitting my Twitter like there is no tomorrow. So that's great. In my attempt to expand my social media for this account, I guess I am going to be spending a lot of time online now, being active, I guess, which is the surefire sign of someone who is doing perfectly in life, like someone who has no questions, who has no qualms, who has not a single problem, not a conceivable problem in any way, shape, or form, because social media is, as we all know, the pinnacle of human existence. There is not a single person on Twitter who is not, a PhD from Harvard, at least. I don't think that they give you a Twitter otherwise. It's simply impossible, quite frankly, because there are a bunch of tests you have to go through. You have to have an IQ of 400 at least. I think that there was someone who once applied with a 399, and they were straight up laughed out of Twitter in the offices by the people who created it. It was a nightmare. It was honestly, it must have been ridiculous. I think I read something on The Onion about that. Credible news source. So, as I was on here, I had to create a new one, and it gave me a list of people that I could possibly follow, and it asked me what my interests were. It asked me what I would really like to see on Twitter, because I don't know why they asked me that, because what wouldn't I like to see on Twitter, you know what I mean? I want to see every single tweet that has ever been tweeted ever, dating back to the invention of this social media. So, I guess I chose whichever ones really tickled my peach, So, I guess, I don't know what it was that they were doing. They did not show me in any way, shape, or form things that I was interested in, and I was honestly surprised. I don't understand how they went wrong in any way, at any point, because I wanted to see everything, everything in existence. That's what I was interested in seeing. And I was showed so many things that not only disgusted me, but made me question why this was even an app. For instance, I won't go into names or who these people were or anything like that, but people who, honestly, I am obsessed with people who put the number of Vine loops in their bio. The number of, for all of you who don't know, Vine was an app. Emphasis on the was there, because it is past tense. It is no longer an app that you can download on the App Store. It is gone. But they put the number of Vine loops that they have, and that's just how many times, like, one of their 6-second videos was played by someone who either followed them or someone who saw them in passing or anything. They have it in their bios still. Vine went down over a year ago, and I guarantee you the majority of the people who are posting Vines on there had their most popular content upwards of 4 years ago. So the fact that they're still boasting about how many times someone watched them for a maximum of 6 seconds, it's honestly impressive how dedicated they are to something that was passing, that is no longer in existence. You know what I mean? And it's just interesting to me. I like Vine. I like seeing the compilations on the internet with really ridiculous titles, like vines that that cleared my skin, raised my GPA, and introduced me to the actual face of God. Things like that. I find that amusing, and I find certain vines amusing. But I don't understand why people are still touting the number of views that they have on there. You know, you're a person, you're not a number. And if you are a person who is constantly talking about the number, then what are you doing? Why? This is Twitter. Are you thinking that those Vine loops are going to come to Twitter for you? I'm assuming you are. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Another thing that I wasn't shocked to see this, because, you know, I've met human beings before, and I've been to high school, so I know that people are constantly talking about other people all the time, but the amount of Twitter users who have the people who have blocked them in their descriptions or their bios, it's startling. They're bragging about the fact that these people thought that they were annoying, they didn't want to see their content anymore, they didn't want to hear from them, so they blocked them, and the people who are blocked are bragging about it in their Twitter handles. It doesn't make any sense to me. You're like, oh, this person dislikes me and does not want to look at what I have to say and thinks that I am a nuisance. And you know what? I'm going to wear that with a badge of honor, and I will hold that. Obviously, I'm a person who is held in high regards by everyone, because not only am I disliked by someone, but I take pleasure in the fact that they dislike me, and I need people to know. Like, I cannot have any questions within the minds of strangers that this person does not like me. It doesn't... You are literally bragging about the fact that you are quite possibly a very annoying person with a lot of time on their hands, who has dedicated the time to getting blocked by another person on Twitter. And you know that most of the time. They're not going to be talking about someone who, like, works at Pinkberry with them. They're talking about people who are famous who have blocked them. That is so clear, that's so obvious that you were just using their name to get followers and hoping to acquire some sort of coalition of other human beings who dislike that person to follow you, because you think that you're going to start some sort of uprising. You're not going to do anything. There's no way that if you are using someone else's fame that you are going to be able to acquire their fame in any way, shape, or form. That's just ridiculous thinking. I don't understand how people do the mental gymnastics necessary to warp their minds into that sort of, you know, thought. Like, it's struggling. It hurts. It hurts to see. As I was setting up my account, I just got bored. Like, I feel like I have my own personal Twitter, but I feel like I've been on Twitter so often lately that it bores me now. I remember being shocked by some of the things that would trend or some of the things that people would say, but now it's all so expected. It's just so routine, like, oh, someone said something deeply offensive and that should not be said by a human being ever, and then someone comes after them and tries to correct them, then someone else is offended by the person correcting them, and then somehow you get a quote from Fox News about something that is completely unrelated, and people start attacking that, and then it's a tornado. There is no actual human relationships here. Or maybe if that's how people act in real life, then I'm pretty sure that I am not ready for real life. Constant bickering and fighting and unsupported claims and unrelated facts presented. It's exhausting. I don't understand how people have time for it, and I don't understand how people have dedicated their time to posting on Twitter about things like this. I guess I'm gonna get in the game. I mean, I'm not gonna act like that because I have a life, but I do want this podcast to be successful, and I don't want it to be whining. This is an unusual episode, but it's definitely not the tone that I'm going for. But this is absolutely ridiculous. And I think that there are some things where there are bots on Twitter, But you have to remember that the majority of these are people. And that's what scares me the most. Like, how? Like, I'm literally the one who's supposed to be the loser here, acquiring other losers to listen to my voice and the words that I am saying about the things on my podcast. Yes, that was smooth as butter. But these people so vehemently believe in what they are saying, what they're touting, or they're doing it for followers. But if they're just doing it for followers and don't believe any of it, then what's the point? You're going to be driving yourself insane for a couple of numbers that you claim that they're people, but they're not people. They're just numbers. You're adding on numbers based on beliefs that you don't really have. And on a personality that I doubt you have, I guarantee you that almost everyone behind these Twitter handles is not the same person that they are in real life. I bet they're not confrontational. I bet they don't have these facts on hand at all times to present to you about the thing that you were not talking about. They would never call you out if they actually saw you. They would probably try to avoid conflict in any way, shape, or form. That's how most people are. That's how most sane people are, because people don't go around calling each other out and screaming and caps locking each other to death. But, I guess I'm gonna get in the game and remember who I am, though. But this is a podcast. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be a joke. It's supposed to help alleviate some of the toxins of the earth, of people thinking that they're too serious, holding themselves in such high regards that it can be detrimental to themselves. You're supposed to laugh at yourself every once in a while. But I doubt any of these people are laughing. I think that they are most likely unhappy with how things are. Or, they're just agents of chaos. Either way, it's not a way to live. But what do I know? I'm just your typical loser. All right. Over and out again. Maybe I'll stick with that sign out, but probably not, because that was terrible, and it's currently making me a little bit sick, so I think I'm just gonna, stop, end this. All right. Thanks for sticking around.